I've been stuck driving in an endless highway tunnel for 32 hours. Hi, I'm still alive. Still in this godforsaken, dreary place. Thank you to everyone who replied to my post with advice, theories, anything. It's helping me feel less alone, reading and answering your comments. One thing that you guys suggested was that Gus may have laced something that I consumed. The snacks, the Red Bulls, the cigarettes, and as scary as that would be, I was praying for that to be the case. I was holding on to hope that I would wake up today somewhere else, that this whole thing would be a hallucination, brought on by some Nebraskan Hicks psychedelics. It wasn't. I fell asleep at like 8 this morning, kept awake all night by gripping fear. I woke up at 4 p.m. with a start, unsure if my terror was from something real or something I dreamed. Honestly, I'm usually awakened with a start. I've had chronic nightmares for as long as I can remember. I don't think my trepidation was caused by an outside force. Still, in the tunnel, feeling the same as I did yesterday. I don't think I was laced. Another response I kept seeing on my first post was that turning around was a mistake. If we take what Gus said literally, as many of you are, I have to continue through the tunnel to take me where I need to go. Maybe that's why the tunnel extended, keeping me inside until I turned back around. It wants to trick me. It's swallowing me like a pill. So when I woke up today, I turned back around, facing back through the tunnel, hopefully the correct way. My car was slowly running out of gas, less than a fourth of a tank. I've had a portable charger in my car, thank fuck, that I charged up as I drove. I need as much time with you all as I can get. I need to feel like I'm still connected to civilization. Every 10 to 15 miles down the tunnel, I would reach another service sweet spot, a split second of a bar before it disappeared once again. It's throwing me a bone. I watched as my gas sensor conspicuously made its way to E. I kept driving past empty for about 30 minutes until my car sputtered and came to a stop in the darkness. I'd been driving for about 3 hours. My car stopped near when I had turned around yesterday, I think. I sat there, unsure of what to do next. Even though in my heart and in my mind, I knew. Something I was dreading. I had to start walking. This must be what it wants. For me to be exposed. No longer protected by the steel frame of my SUV. No longer able to hide or speed away at a sign of danger. I was avoiding giving the tunnel what it wanted. I was terrified that as soon as I stepped out of my vehicle, I would be swarmed by whatever was running at me yesterday. But I had no other choice. I packed a bag with the necessary supplies, all of my food and drink, my portable charger, a blanket, some warm clothes, and a journal and pen in case my phone dies before I get out of here. I still want to be able to document my journey. I also grabbed my emergency flashlight and some extra batteries. I even found an old flare in my car's tool bag, which I took with me. And, of course, my cigarettes and a lighter. I sat there with my packed bag for a while, building up the courage to open my car door. I took a deep breath, counted down from 10, and on 1, I swung open my door and stepped out into the road. The wind's eerie whistling surrounded me once again. I pointed my flashlight all around me. It was cold, dark, and damp. Liquid pooled at the base of the rock walls. There was nothing to do but start walking, so I did. Leaving my precious vehicle behind was heartbreaking. That SUV is the one constant I have in my life right now. I walked and I walked. I knew that the last time I got a bar was about 2 miles before my car stopped. That meant in 8 miles or so, I would hit another sweet spot, and that's where I would rest. It'd probably take me about 3 hours of walking. My flashlight did hardly anything in the pitch black. I could see only about 10 feet in front of me, in only a small circle of light. The air felt heavy. It was getting hard to breathe. I jumped at every noise. Pebbles I'd happen to kick bouncing along the ground, water drip drops, even my own footsteps sometimes. I was constantly swiveling my light in all directions, glancing behind me every few seconds, even though I couldn't see shit. I felt like I was being watched, as cliche as it is. I walked for about an hour and a half, telling myself I was halfway to my resting point. I just had to keep pushing. I stopped for a second to retie my shoelaces. As I kneeled down, my flashlight fell out of my pocket and rolled to the other side of the tunnel, light aiming behind me. I watched the light as it rolled. The flashlight hit the wall opposite me with a metallic clink. The beam of light illuminated something pressed against the wall, about 10 feet behind me. A black shadow stood out against the shiny gray rock. It looked like the shape of a person, though elongated and wrong somehow. Someone standing with their face pressed against the wall, arms at their side. I inhaled sharply, trying to act as though I didn't see anything. I didn't want to acknowledge the shape. We all remember what happened the last time I acknowledged a presence in this tunnel. I quickly finished tying my shoes and ran across the tunnel to grab my flashlight. I picked it up and continued briskly walking, away from the figure, away from the menacing mass that stuck to the rock like moss. My heart started racing once again, pounding so hard I worried the sound would echo. Was I being followed? And by what? I kept moving. It almost felt like I was floating. My legs were getting numb from the cold and the trek. I made it to my rest point without another incident. I put on a sweater and sat on the ground, my back against the tunnel wall, wrapping myself in my blanket. The bard appeared like a sign from God, and I started reading more of your comments just to hear from someone. I guess eventually I started to hum. It's a habit that my mother had tried beating out of me when I was younger, but no amount of pummeling could stop the music in me. It was always random tunes that I couldn't really place. This time was no different. I hadn't even noticed the melody vibrating in my throat, not until I heard it, faintly, from my left, further down the tunnel, the way I had walked from. I stopped my humming, but the tune didn't cease. It kept repeating, and I grew more restless each time. A panic crept over me. I listened intently and realized it didn't even necessarily sound human. It sounded forced, like whatever was repeating my humming had never hummed before. Crackling, gritty, hoarse. Then more joined in, from both directions. A distorted choir I couldn't see was repeating my nonsensical tune over and over. I started imagining what these pitiful tunnel demons could possibly look like. Did they appear as human, like I thought the shadow was? Or were they more animalistic? Would my death be quick at their hands? The humming was converging on me, getting closer and closer. I turned off my flashlight and threw my blanket over my head, curling up into a ball, like a toddler avoiding the monster under their bed. I lay there, with my eyes closed, focusing on my breathing. In for 6, hold for 6, out for 6. Just like my therapist taught me. The ground trembled, the pebbles skittered around me, the wind picked up speed. After about 5 minutes, the humming came to an abrupt halt. Everything quieted, suddenly. A single set of footsteps was approaching me, slowly. I was shaking as I heard the figure coming up on me. I remained under my blanket, pressed against the ground and the wall. I scrunched my eyes closed and pictured myself somewhere, anywhere else. The footsteps stopped right in front of me. I sensed the figure lean down. I could hear it breathing directly above me. If this was it, this was it. I accepted my fate. Drops of what I assumed was drool splattered onto the blanket. I heard something lick its lips. I held my breath and thought of every horrible thing I had done throughout my life, and how I would never be able to fix it. How I never made amends with so many of the people I harmed. How my mother probably wouldn't even notice I was dead. And if she did, she'd probably be relieved. Obviously, whatever it was didn't kill me. It stood there, above me, salivating and clicking its tongue for a long, long time. Somehow, I fucking fell asleep. Wake up! I was still wrapped in the blanket, clutching my flashlight and my phone. I'd been awakened by that harsh whisper shout that rang in my ears. Like when someone screams in a dream and it continues long after you open your eyes. I listened, but I heard nothing more. I slowly lifted the edge of the blanket and peeked out. My eyes began adjusting to the darkness, and I couldn't see any ominous shapes in my immediate vicinity. I bit my tongue and turned on my flashlight, slowly lifting the blanket off of myself and shining my light in all directions. Nothing. Are they toying with me? Maybe they're like Stephen King's It. Maybe they want me to be afraid before they eat me so I taste better. Are they even real? I saw that shape in the tunnel, but maybe it was a trick of light. I heard the humming and I felt that figure looming over me. Maybe it was all in my head. My mother always told me I was beyond help, that my paranoid tendencies would take over me until they killed me. Maybe that's all that's happening now. I keep trying to tell myself that none of this is real, that I'm just going crazy from hunger and exhaustion and cold and isolation. It's getting harder to convince myself of that, though. especially now that I notice the dozen or so drops of blood littering my blanket. I think I slept for like 2 hours. It's almost 2 a.m. I'm about to start the 3-hour walk to my next resting point, my next bar. I have to keep moving. Until I can get back online, I'm hoping some of you can help me. I don't think there's any point in figuring out exactly where I am. I don't want anybody else coming in here after me. I don't know if this tunnel is even real at this point. But maybe you guys can give me some ideas on how to proceed. Should I confront the figures the next time they make themselves known? Maybe acknowledging them is the only way I can get out of here. Maybe I have to face my fears. What could they be? Ghosts? Souls trapped in this tunnel waiting for it to capture me next? Demons? Monsters? Deranged mountain people? Has anyone encountered or heard something like this before? I have a lot of time to think in here. I've been running through every possible scenario. Anyways, thanks for being here. Even if you can't offer me any guidance, just interacting with me is helping me feel more sane. Hopefully, you hear from me again.